this. Which one is this? German? So this is Deutsch. And we've got one of his books sold at Infowars.com. He's got 2 books on this subject. Okay, and before we leave, we'll plug that, Webster. Webster, let's continue right now with where we'd gotten to with what Al-Qaeda is, how it was created, how the establishment created radicalized Muslim groups that were already there, but funded them, expanded them to run around the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. This just didn't begin with Brzezinski, to menace governments that the establishment didn't like. And then after they let the extremist Muslims take over, then the West has a new enemy and recycles that. But the point of Robert Gates, the Secretary of Defense that Obama has said he's keeping over, being literally the Brzezinski man at the Al-Qaeda desk with its founding, its organization in the late 1970s.
I think Gates sets the stage from a couple of points of view. Last Wednesday, I got up in the morning, go outside, get the Washington Post. Gates will stay at the Pentagon. Reading this thing in the afternoon, reports coming in, Mumbai terrorism. So the same day that the world learned in the papers that Obama had essentially accepted the dictation of his handlers to keep Gates at the Pentagon, throw out all this stuff about hope and change, change. No more change. Gates stays at the Pentagon. Now, Robert Gates, who is this person? Robert Gates, first of all, was, as Brzezinski says, from 1977 to 1979-80, when Brzezinski came to the National Security Council of the Jimmy Carter Trilateral Administration every morning, the first person he saw in the morning was Robert Gates, and the last person he saw in the evening when he left was Robert Gates. So Robert Gates was his right-hand man, his girl Friday, his office boy.
His
right?
gopher, his minion.
Yeah.
And we see this with these apprentices, with these Sith lords, just like Kashkari is Paulson's long-term servant and minion, now handing out the 8.4 trill.
Right. So Gates is a clone of Zbigniew Brzezinski. They say he's a Republican. This doesn't matter at all. His career,
former CIA director.
Yeah,
also,
we'll get to it. We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
His career was sponsored by Zbigniew Brzezinski. Now, recently, Gates signaled to all of us what he's going to do, and he gave a speech. I don't know if you saw this. It's the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace.
Yes.
With Jessica Matthews.
The real think tank that really makes a lot of policy.
Yeah, it's a pretty high-level one. It's older. Jessica Matthews, of course, this is the daughter of Barbara Tuchman. This is the daughter of Kuhn Loeb, Warburg, all this stuff.
The attempted Nazi coup in the 30s.
Right, but she's there, and Gates is in a mood of nostalgia, and he says, "Hey, Jessica," speaking to a gathering at the Carnegie Endowment. He says, "Jessica, do you remember when both of us worked for Zbigniew Brzezinski at the National Security Council, and we got this invitation to go to Algiers?" In Algeria on April 1st, I believe it was, of 1978, because that was the National Day, and there was an opportunity to meet with the Iranian leadership. In other words, the Khomeiniaks, the Khomeini guys, the Khomeini Prime Minister, the Khomeini Defense Minister, and the Khomeini Foreign Minister. That guy was Yazdi. He was the most important of these. And he says, "Jessica, you remember how Zbigniew gave a speech, and he laid it all out for the Iranians, and he said to them in a private meeting, 'Look, Iranians..."
Stay there. We've got a break. Back
Okay.
in 70 seconds with this riveting and vital information. We'll be right back.
You are listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com today.
On September 11th, 2001, along with hundreds of my fellow troops, I went to Ground Zero, and we knew what to do. Or at least we thought we did.
Truth Rising is a breakthrough 9/11 film that finally gives first responders a platform to tell their story.
Whitman, EPA director, on the 18th made a statement that the air was safe to breathe.
This film follows the growing momentum of 9/11 truth as brave souls throughout the world take action against their
countdown. He takes his hand, 2, 1, and it was boom, 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 boom.
This is an emergency transmission worldwide. Download Truth Rising at prisonplanet.tv and aggressively spread it worldwide, or order the DVD at Infowars.com. If we don't expose the government-sponsored terror, they're going to commit more acts and bring in martial law.
Waging war on corruption. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We are back live. We have Webster Griffin Tarpley in studio with us. We're getting into right now the real Obama administration, the real players and individuals that he is putting in place. And if it is possible, it's an even more cold-blooded, wicked group of Anglo-American oligarchs, but now with left cover. And we were getting into just one person of countless, Robert Gates, that he is bringing in to continue on as Secretary of Defense, meeting with the Khomeniacs in '78, right as they're being about to be installed there in Iran. So let's continue with the founding of Al-Qaeda, and then that will be a perfect segue into Mumbai that just happened in India.
Right. So Gates is a clone of Brzezinski. He was his office boy at the National Security Council, 77 to 79. And then you get Brzezinski coming out with this proposition that Islamic fundamentalism is the greatest bulwark against Soviet communism and Soviet imperialism. So Brzezinski plays the Islamic fundamentalist card with a vengeance. Brzezinski is the founder of modern Islamic fundamentalism. He's the one who made these people great. So we have then the secret meeting, and I cover this in Obama, the Postmodern Coup. It was actually so hot that there was some of the editions around the world say, hey, wait a minute, can you prove this? Well, in the meantime, I can, because Gates has come out and said it. So Gates meets...
But that's in so many historical records. I mean, I knew that 15 years ago, and I didn't know one-tenth of
in general, but the specific meeting, and here's what it comes to.
Okay.
And it comes to the hostages, because here we have Brzezinski meeting with Yazdi. Now, they're in power. The Khomeniacs have seized power. They're running Iran, right? The Shah is fled.